Hello, my name is Lindsay Powell, and I'm going to be talking about the psychological aspects of sport and exercise on a collegiate football running back / wide receiver. So, this focus group is on a first-year collegiate athlete in the position of running back and wide receiver. The biggest goal is to mentally prepare them for the next level of play and how maybe their current feelings and motivators affect their performance at this new level. Currently, their life definitely affects their desire to compete. They have a strong passion for the sport, and we're going to be talking about how those extrinsic motivators affect him. I have a love for this specific group because I've been an athletic trainer in high school for the past year or so, and being able to help my seniors that want to play at this next level in any way I possibly can is a great opportunity. So the external effects that we're going to be talking about are motivation, stress, and anxiety, and desire to compete. Starting with motivation, we're sorry for the quote from Marzell. According to the social ecological theory, multiple levels of influence, interpersonal factors, interpersonal processes, institutional and organizational factors, community factors, and public policy affect health behaviors, with individual and environmental issues being an important contributing factor. Knowing your athlete's extrinsic and intrinsic motivations is a game changer. You want to find a balance between the two because you don't want one to overthrow the other and cause a burnout with the athlete. But you also want to know what drives your athlete, what their core motivations are, and how you can use those to increase their training, increase their desire to play, and just make their overall experience better. So my athletes specifically, their intrinsic motivators are really strong. They love their sport, they love their teams that they've played with, they love their coaches, they have a really strong desire to compete at this next level, and it's fully something that they want to do on their own. They aren't feeling any pressure from any outside source. They fully are wanting to play for the love of the game and the fun that they have while competing. Their extrinsic motivationers would be, their friends, how their community supports them and views them, how their parents support and views them. This athlete specifically has a very supportive community behind them. The town that they grew up in is very supportive of everyone, and especially athletes, and especially if they want to play at this new level, you're going to continue to have a lot of support. And so those extrinsic motivators and the things that their desire to win and stuff like that is very strong as well. So it's just making sure that they don't lose their core motivators of having fun and loving the sport if things go wrong with those extrinsic motivators. Stress and anxiety are things that can kind of play with that a little bit. Growing evidence supports or suggests that emotional social support may be crucial recovery for an injury. This is proven with this specific athlete. He was injured in his senior year of high school, and the support of everyone behind him and his ability to recover really helped him. That there is a lot of stress on him to play through an injury because of that, because he wants to do well and he wants to succeed for those around him. He doesn't want to let anyone down. That pressure can cause an athlete to either injure themselves further or to thrive, depending on the situation. He was able to thrive through it, but the outside stress of the community definitely can weigh on him and definitely will play a factor in his success moving forward with training and in this next level of play. His desire to compete, there is a strong desire to compete. He has a large community support coming from a small town where there are a few athletes that can play at the next level, but most people will know that you're competing at the next level and will be behind you 100%. He has a strong love of the game, and that motivator will really carry him through as long as he continues to feel that love. He is a very social and outgoing person, and those social effects will drive him to want to be the best he possibly can because he doesn't want to let anyone down. the hardest thing with that is going to be trying to make sure he maintains a good, healthy balance of knowing that he doesn't want to disappoint anyone, but he also understands that that is not the only reason he is playing. So for this athlete specifically, we decided to set a few goals. We wanted them overall, with outcome goals, to be top 5 in conference for rushing yards by the end of the season, average 2 touchdowns per game. Performance goals were a 40-yard dash in under 6 to 7 seconds and a route in under 12 seconds. The training goals were to train 5 days a week, eat a clean diet, and do yoga to increase flexibility and balance. Starting with the process goals, train 5 days a week. So what that looks like is that they will be increasing their cardiorespiratory fitness, their muscular strength, and their muscular endurance throughout the week, doing 3 days of muscular strength, 3 days of muscular endurance, 2 days of muscular strength, and cardiorespiratory throughout the whole 5 days. Of course, taking off the 2 days because 1 day of rest, 1 day of possible competition. Throughout this, it'll be a healthy balance of trying to increase their strength through endurance and increasing weight with their lifting. And cardiorespiratory will help them with running their routes to breathe better and just increase their overall muscular efficiency throughout the whole process. The next thing would be to eat healthier, trying to do a diet rich in protein, a little bit less carbs, high in fruit and vegetables, try not to do added sugars. That's all really important when trying to build muscle. Carbs can be added, but just trying to do a healthy fat diet, high protein diet is kind of the goal, with some healthy carbs thrown in on occasion, but not super carb rich. Doing yoga daily is something that I personally think is very beneficial with process goals. It'll increase their flexibility and their balance, so it'll help them be lighter on their feet when they're running routes trying to get past people. And it will also reduce their risk of injury overall, because they won't, with the increased flexibility, their muscles are looser, they are able to move more efficiently, and it just strengthens the muscle in a different way than working out or respiratory fitness does. Their performance goals. So after process goals is performance goals, and that would be to run a 40-yard dash in 6 to 7 seconds and run a route with cuts in 12 seconds or less. So I chose these goals specifically based on what I had seen and what I think would help them achieve their overall outcome goals. Of course, this can be adjusted based on how well they progress and what they're doing. So I chose for them to run a 40-yard dash in 6 to 7 seconds. I felt that was very achievable for them, especially if they continue with their process goals in the right way throughout the season. And then to run a route with cuts in 12 seconds or less, I thought it was very achievable based on the 40-yard dash goal. Running the route with cuts is an ideal performance goal, because if they can run that efficiently, then that will help them get past defenders as time moves on. Their outcome goals: top 5 for rushing in conference, average 2 touchdowns per game. Overall, based on the performance and process goals, this should be very achievable based on what they can control. Of course, if there are people who are just way better than them, the rushing may be different, but 2 touchdowns per game was very reasonable on average, I thought, throughout an entire season. They could, based on their times for their 40 and their routes, and their increased muscular endurance and strength, I felt like that is extremely achievable, especially based on the team that they will be playing for. So hoping throughout all of that, they can achieve that goal. Goal setting is extremely important for any athlete and almost any person in any situation, because goals give you something to look forward to. It gives you something to train for that is specific to you, that will better your team, but will help motivate you as an individual. Having goals for yourself helps you, and it also helps everyone around you, as long as you understand that you're an entity on a team and are still a team player. So the verse that I chose for this athlete and for this focus group is one of my favorite verses of all time, and it's don't let anyone look down on you because you're young, but set an example for believers in speech and conduct in love and faith and in purity. It's 1 Timothy 4:12. I chose this verse because it's very specific to someone who is going into a new phase of life and is young and is trying to prove something to a new group of people they don't know. He's starting at the bottom of the totem pole again, trying to move forward, and that can be really intimidating, but as long as you are confident in what you're doing and you know why you're doing it, and you train according, and as we've set the goals before, then I think it is very achievable to achieve the tasks at hand. And this verse to me is just telling you to push through what anyone else thinks of you, to look forward, to like have almost tunnel vision on your goals, and just set an example for everyone else. Set a bottom line of this is how things are going to be done. I'm going to do it the right way, and I'm going to make people want to follow what I'm doing because I'm going to be successful no matter what people are saying. So there are a few things that I learned throughout this course that I'd like to share. The first thing I learned is how external forces affect an athlete. Learning visualization and learning goal setting and just like understanding motivation at its core really has helped me to understand how I can use that to help athletes, even in my job now. I can use that to help athletes recovering from injury, or just in general in my conversations that I'm having with people who might be struggling with playing time or whatever, even at the high school level. I think it's really important to know how people's environment affects them, how they are feeling about what they're going through, and just checking in with people on a regular basis. And just knowing that like the terms and just how people work is extremely important to know how to help them succeed. How to push past expectations, I think, is something everyone can carry into life, not only within athletics, because people are always going to have expectations on you no matter what. And especially in a small community, you want to make sure that you know that you're doing things for the right reason and for a reason that's for you. You're not doing it for anyone else, and just pushing past what other people expect for you and then figuring out what you expect for yourself is something I learned from this class. I also learned how to create a plan of action between goal setting, visualization, and even this presentation. I learned that creating a plan of action for yourself or for athletes can make a huge difference because it's something to follow, it's something to look forward to, and it's something to motivate you throughout either a short period of time or a long period of time. For goal setting, you have the small goals from process goals to performance goals to outcome goals. Process leads to performance, which leads to outcome, and the outcome could be within like a few months or it can be within a year or longer, and that's something that I will definitely take throughout this whole, throughout the rest of my life, but it's definitely throughout my career. And then these are my references for the presentation, and I thank you very much for listening to me talk about this, and I hope that you learned something new or this was informative for this specific group. Thank you.